My name is CHATCHAI. You can call me Thaw. So, 4 years ago, I became a volunteer in teaching kids to do their homework after school. And this was one of the math problems of a kid that I taught. Not that it was complex math problems, but the complication was that kid was blind. Because of his blindness, I had to spend 2 hours explaining him this concept of triangle or trigonometries to him verbally, until he finally asked me to just give him an answer, so he had something to turn in the following day. My experience in teaching blind kids their homework made me realize how tough the education was. Most of us humans are visual learners. 75% of our learnings occur through sight. And when blind kids lose that, they lose the majority of their abilities to learn. To compensate that, adaptive tools play a very significant role in their education. But most of the tools here in Thailand are handmade by teachers using whatever materials they can get their hands on, mostly paper. Yes, even though the teachers know the needs, but they don't have skills in design or production. So what they can make are very limited in numbers and not highly effective. In hearing that, I thought that I could help them developing the tools because I believed that those kids, they had this advantage. They better had good education to survive. So I started making things for them and then gave them to the school to try it out. And 2 years later, I set up a company and launched the first products, Lensen Drawing Kits. Lensen is a tactile drawing tool for blind kids. It uses wool and hook tape to create a tactile line that can be felt through fingertips in real time. But in the beginning, it wasn't actually like this. It was more like this. With a straw, a milk bottle, a toothpick, and my engineering skills. My background is in finance, by the way. I made the first prototype in 2011. After a few developments, the first batch of working prototype was sent to the School for the Blind to test them out. And with the feedbacks from the teachers and the kids themselves, the development process continues. And 2 years later, I had this version of Lensen made out of wood, which I started selling to test out the market. And after we were quite certain that there's a market for this kind of drawing products, both in Thailand and internationally, so I invest most of the money into plastic injection mold to ramp up the scales of production and with better design and lower the cost. And we got this current version of Lensen made out of plastic. So Lensen Drawing Kits was originally designed to be used in teaching subjects like art, math, science, or any other subjects that require drawing as a part of learning process. Until one day, I saw this picture. This picture was drawn by a girl who had been blind since birth. Can anyone guess what the picture is about? It's a picture of rain falling from the sky. Wow, amazing, isn't it? Have you ever wondered how rain would look like for someone who have never seen rain, who have never seen anything in her life before? This picture made me realize that Lensen was more than just a drawing tool. It was actually a communication tool that allowed the blind person to show us how they perceive the world around them. And their drawing was so fascinating and interesting. So a few weeks ago, we gathered up and organized it into an art exhibition called Please Touch Art Exhibition. It's an art exhibition that connects the world of blind and sighted people together through art. So on one side, we have 20 drawings from blind kids showing various aspects of their life. What's their happiness? What's their fear? Do they afraid of ghosts? What would ghosts look like for them? And on the other side, we have 12 drawings from famous artists showcasing their signature works using Lensen as well. So for the first time ever, blind people could actually feel the work of Thai national artists and other famous artists. So now that we have enabled blind kids to draw, we are aiming for something bigger. We want to create the first blind artist in Thailand because we believe that with the right tool, the right process, and right opportunities, they can be one. So we move forward from just developing the tools into developing the whole system where arts can prosper in blind communities. When I started doing all of this, I had the same belief as her and as a lot of people in this room, that education was the key to a better life, right? Until one day, while I was testing out new products with a class of high school blind kids, at the end of the class, I asked them, okay, what they wanted to be after they graduate. You know, like when you ask kids what they wanted to be when they grow up, and you expect some answers like, I want to be a doctor, I want to be an engineer, I want to be a scientist. But in that room, at that moment, there was only a silence. After a while, a female hand rose up and said, I want to sell lotteries. I want to be a masseuse. I want to work in a call center. Those 3 jobs are the best choice that they can dream of. Don't get me wrong, I have nothing against people selling lotteries on the street or being a masseuse. But come on, life should have more choices than that, don't you think? The reason I said those 3 were the best choice, because 30% of the blind don't even have a job. And those that do, they have an average income of 100 baht a day. So tell me, would you invest your time and money in education if eventually you will have 30% chance of being unemployed and 70% chance of earning 100 baht a day? Would you invest? No. Neither do I. Neither do the kids, and neither do their parents. The problem of education for the blind is not about lacking resources. It's about lacking the motivation. That's the main reason why 85% of blind people in Thailand today only have primary education or less. And to solve these problems, making more tools like Lensen won't do the jobs. No. But instead, what we could do and we should do is to give them opportunities. Opportunities to live, opportunities to work, and opportunities to become a part of our societies. So to give them an opportunities to work, we provide skill training for people with disabilities. For example, like in these pictures, we were training deaf students to do Illustrator. Because they're deaf, they cannot hear anything. So they are very concentrated on the task at hand. That makes them a great graphic designer. So we basically turn that disadvantage into an advantage. Most of the blind people that I work with are unhealthy. Because for them, walking alone is hard enough. So we came up with the projects to enable them to exercise in the easiest way. That's running. And to do that, we brought in the best innovation that our societies can offer. That's you guys. Because the best thing to help human is another human. Blind people cannot run, not on their own, but they can run if we run together. So we organized Run Together event for the first time last year in April, and we had 12 blind and 12 volunteers participate. And after that, we organize it once a month with more and more people with disabilities participating. And now we have like 50 to 60 people with disabilities participate every month. And just a couple of weeks ago, we organized our first big event, Run Together Mini Marathon. And we had 400 people with disabilities participate. Blind, deaf, people in wheelchair, even mental disabilities participate. They came to prove that disabilities is not an obstacle in running or to live their life. And they proved that not for you, but for themselves. And again, Run Together event is not just about a running event. We made it into a system. Run Together monthly event is like a door where people with disabilities can try running for the first time and meet with guide runners or volunteers. We call them guide runners. And after a while, they become friends, and we encourage them to use our online, offline platform to meet and to run more than just our event. While the big event like Run Together Mini Marathon or other running marathon will become like a stimulant to keep this community active and growing organically. And Run Together event is now expanding. It's going to be all over Thailand in a couple of years. In most of our activities, we try to involve volunteers as many as possible because we want volunteers to understand that people with disabilities are different from us. But aren't we all different from each other anyway? I don't eat spicy food, and I'm afraid of height. Some of you may be afraid of spiders. Some don't eat meat. Some are short, some are tall. Some cannot see, some cannot hear. Disabilities is just another difference. It doesn't make them inferior to us, or we superior to them. We are all equal, we are all friends. So the goal of my company is to create something called an inclusive society, where people with and without disabilities can live together in harmony. And to reach that goal, I cannot go that by myself. I need your help. All the individuals can help. And how do you help? There are two things you can do to help people with disabilities. Two questions you need to ask yourself. First, can your products be accessible by people with disabilities? Can blind people buy your products? Can deaf people use your service? Can people in wheelchairs enter your store, your restaurants? And the second question is, can they be a part of your team? Do you give them an equal opportunities to work for you and work for something really meaningful? Doing these two things, you don't need to help them with anything else. You don't need to donate. You don't need to buy them lunch. You don't need to give them stuff. Because what they want is only one thing, an equal opportunities. Thank you very much.